This conference will now be recorded.
So as we discussed yesterday, the course contents, we have discussed about a couple of uh, concepts, right? Whether you take BRF or whether you are taking like AATP. So majority of the concepts are either there in other modules or some new dimension modules where now SAP has made it available to everyone kind of thing. So even the Fiori is not new in SAP. Fiori was there in SAP since very long. But today, in S/4HANA, why Fiori has gained so much of discussion? The reason is SAP has come up with cloud version. Earlier in the ECC, we don't have a cloud version, it's only on-premise. But now we have cloud version, and anything on the cloud, how do we access? Only through browser. And SAP's browser version of user interface is nothing but Fiori. So if it is on-premise, as we know, we access it with GUI. We have a GUI and that's how we access the on-premise. But if something is on the cloud, how do we access? That is through Fiori. That means, so as for HANA system, S/4HANA system, enterprise management sitting on HANA database. So how do we connect to the system? Through a user interface. And what is that user interface we use? That's called a GUI, right? Graphical user interface. And this is what GUI we use and connect it to SAP. So as we know, there are a couple of other interfaces as well. There is a NWBC, right? There is a um, Web HTML, for SAP. Like this, there are various other user interfaces are there. But now in S/4HANA, we are more talking about Fiori. So what is Fiori? So as we know, SAP has come up with two versions. One is on-premise, and today we also have cloud. If it is on-premise, we access it with GUI. But how do we access SAP if it is on cloud? So anything on the cloud, we can access only through the browser, right? So SAP's browser version of user interface is nothing but Fiori. That means if it is on cloud, we don't have any other option, only to access through Fiori. But if it is on premise, we can use GUI. At the same time, we can also use Fiori to connect and use the system. If it is on premise, we can have both. But if it is cloud, no other option except Fiori, right? And you see here, Fiori is connecting to the same database. GUI is also connecting to the same database. That means in a project, if a user has an authorization to create a sales order through GUI, that doesn't mean the same user will have authorization to create an order through Fiori, even though they're connected through the same database and both are user interface. It doesn't mean the user will get the same authorization to create a sales order using Fiori, because as we know the roles, we'll discuss later as well, the roles for GUI and the roles for Fiori are different. If a user have authorization to create a sales order through GUI, it doesn't mean the user will automatically gain an access to create a order even using the Fiori. Not possible, because the roles for Fiori is different. Okay, we'll discuss that later, right? So Fiori is user interface. So what is your user interface? Which we connect to an application and we can access the application. And as I already told you, Fiori is not something new. Fiori was there since very long time. Fiori was developed on UI5 technology, HTML, CSS, and Fiori was there in SAP since long time. But what is different today? What is different today when it comes to the Fiori? That is this particular. So what is new today? So because Fiori, as we know, as a user interface, it's already available. But what is today the new about Fiori? That is user experience. User experience. So Fiori is not only an user interface just to connect to the system, it also offers user experience. What is user experience? You could see here. In past, all user interfaces suffered from same problem. What is that problem? That is, the focus is mainly on the business functions. The user interfaces. You take uh, GUI. With GUI, we can just log into the SAP system and we can access SAP. That's it, right? But can we access GUI on a mobile phone? Not possible, right? We could use it either SAP only on the laptop or computer. With cluttered screens, many things. But today, now this user interface has come up with user experience. Experience offers many things, right? It is not only just uh, like functionality focused, it takes even the users and everyone into the consideration, right? So you could see here, this is what the user interface, and this is what the user experience is all about. So user interface is only functional focused. That means the core, everything is concentrated on the functionality, but user experience is giving the delight to the customers, right? So you take banking apps. We don't need to go banking. Even at midnight, sitting on a couch, we could access the bank, right? So that is user experience, and it should be simple to access. It should not be complex. So this is what from the user interface today we have come to user experience, because earlier SAP we could access only on a computer or laptop, right? Only a computer laptop. So computer and laptops are fixed devices. Maybe laptop you can take around, but anyway, it's not that mobility as a mobile phone, right? So, but today you can access your SAP anywhere, anytime, on any device, mobile phone, tablet, computer, laptop, doesn't matter, anything. So that is what the user experience offers, anywhere, anytime, any device, right? So this is how SAP has come up with Fiori, which is already there in the ECC earlier as well, but with some new features and functionalities and more simplified way of using the system. Right. So now let me show you something here. You're seeing this GUI, right? Someone has changed it. Let me show it. One moment. 770. Okay. Anyway, I have an image of that. Let me open and show you. So if you see the screen, whatever you're seeing the screen, this is pretty like we know this screen, right? This is 740 kind of GUI, right? The version 740 version GUI, which we are familiar with the menu on the tops and these icons and everything. Okay. So if I want to open a new session, I can click on this and we can open a new session. So this is 740 version, which is very familiar, right? Actually, this is not 740, this is 770, the latest version, but someone has downgraded this. I'm just checking to upgrade. We could switch between actually. If you notice here, you see this SAP logon 770. It is not 740. Okay, so this is the latest version 770. But SAP has given an option to switch back to the old versions as well if you're not comfortable with the new version. So let me show you something here. So this image you see. So whatever I just showed you, the 740. So this is on the left side of my screen here. You see the icons and the new open session button and everything. This is very familiar for us, which is 740 version, right? On the right side, you see this is 750 and so on and so forth. So today, whatever the 770 we are using in the server, you will also get the same 770 for the 2 month server practice. So 750, you see, it looks different. There are no icons. There are no much of men. In the 770, you don't even find these menu paths as well. You don't see them. Okay. So 750. But why SAP has come up with this? Because 740 itself is a very stable GUI which is accessible for even all the new dimensional modules as well. But why SAP has come up with this 750, 7674, 770, so on and so forth? Why SAP has come up with that? Because you see this screen. So there are two windows here. This is one and the big one. So do you notice any difference between these two anyone? This one and this one. Do you notice any difference?
No,
You see here, create
so it
sales
is.
order, create sales order. You have a more button, you have a more button. You have an exit button, you have an exit button. So fields are same. And you see continue in the same color, same font, create with reference, same font, same color, everything is different, same, right? Everything is same except two things. One is here we have this transaction bar where we can enter the T code, and here we have URL. You see, we have URL. Apart from these two, you don't find any difference. For this screen, you see a URL, and for this screen, you see a transaction bar. Apart from this, you don't see any difference. This is Fiori, and this is GUI, the latest version GUIs. So what SAP has done, why SAP has come up with these new GUI versions like 750, 60, 70, like these versions, because they are look alike of Fiori, just look alike of Fiori. So you don't need to give 2 times training to the users. And users are not confused. In one version, you see icons, other versions, there is no icons, where to click and open a new session, right? So there is no confusion, and you don't need to create two user manuals. You don't need to create. You need to not don't need to give two trainings, right? It's very easy for the users to understand. One training is enough. They can work on Fiori at the same time. They can also work on GUI, right? So what the latest version of the GUI is, whatever we have 750, 60, 770, they are look-alike of Fioris, right? Okay, so Fiori is a browser-based application to access SAP. So Fiori was developed or designed on a couple of fundamentals of philosophies, whatever we call it as. Fiori was developed based on a couple of principles or fundamentals, whatever we could call it as. Today, we are calling it as experience, right? But earlier, in SAP, this used to call it as design thinking. Right? Design thinking. Earlier, it used to be called as SAP design thinking. design thinking and SAP Fiori Launch. But today they have changed this terminology of design thinking to experience. Even the website used to be called as designthinking.sap.com. But today it is about everything called as experience. Right? And when you go to this experience website, you can see the complete Fiori, how it was designed and developed, and what are the philosophies of the Fiori. So everything you could check here. We'll discuss each and every the fundamental philosophy, whatever it will be. One moment. So we are only touch basing the theory as perspective of a functional consultant, whatever we need. Okay, because theory is a technical module. In SAP, theory is a technical module, and there will be theory consultants who will be working on this. Okay, theory consultants who will be working on this design philosophy. Yeah, this one, design principles. There is the design principles. These are the design principles of theory, that is role based, delightful, coherent, simple, and adaptive. So these are the 5 principles on which this particular theory was designed or developed. So what are the 5 principles? Role based, responsive, simple, coherent, instant value. The name might be a little changed, but they are one and same. Okay. Adaptive is nothing but simple, right? So one and same. So the Fury is a still evolving concept or functionality in the SAP, and you could see what are the new coming in the Fury using this particular experience.sap.com, right? So Fury is based or developed on particular this principle, these design principles. So what are these design principles? The first thing talks about role-based. What is role-based? For this, SAP has given a use case. What is role-based? So this is what SAP has given a use case on the role-based. So in ECC, it used to be like this, like all the users having access to the screen. So knowingly or unknowingly, we are exposing more data or content to the users because we don't have an option. But here you see, it's a limited access. Whatever that particular user has to get the access, only that access. So we are not exposing the user to anything more than what this particular user needs. How we are controlling that? That is with the role based. So roles are not new. Roles, we have it in even in the ECC as well, right? There's nothing new in the roles. But what is new? That is theory roles are different. Our ECC roles are different and theory roles are different. SU01. Usually we don't have access in every system for this. SU01 roles. So what all you see here, SAP underscore BR, these all are theory roles. Okay. SAP underscore BR, whatever we are seeing here, all are theory roles. So let me show you one or two ECC roles. SAP underscore Bupa underscore master data specialist. You see this role? This is the role which will help us to get the Fiori app to create business partner. That is nothing but customer. Okay. SAP underscore Bupa underscore master underscore specialist, which will help us to create business partner. The same way, SAP underscore BR underscore sales analyst, BR underscore specialist. So as this is the training system, we are seeing tons of apps because any app you gain access only through the Fiori role. That means, okay, you are working and you don't find some role that means you don't find some app in the Fiori dashboard. If you know the role and you have the access here, you can just come and insert that particular role. So that system will automatically add that app into your Fiori dashboard. So how do we provision an app into the Fiori dashboard? With a role. So you could see here SAP underscore sales underscore manager. These all are sales roles. Then we have pre-sales as well. Sales representative. Sales representative also be there somewhere. Yeah, the roles. I have a role matrix. We have a role matrix. You could just check in all the possible roles. Okay, SAP underscore internal underscore sales rep. This is the role which will give access to create sales transactions. Right. So Fiori roles are different. Fiori roles are not just the same as what we know in the ECC roles. Okay. So this role will give authorization to access any Fiori app. So let us try one scenario. What I'll do is, okay. So how do we use Fiori or how do we log into Fiori? So how we log into the Fiori? That is, you can log into the Fiori with a T code that is called as //UI2 // see, this is UI2, not 5, because see, I told you right, Fiori was designed and developed on the technology of UI5. Okay, but in the T code, what we are using here is 2. It's not 5. So UI5/FLP Fiori Launchpad. So this is the T code which will help us to open the Fiori, right? So just you say okay, then it opens the browser, and that's where we proceed with our ID and password. Or else there should be a shortcut already available for you here in the favorites. So Fiori Launchpad, so this one, UI2/FLP SAP Fiori Launchpad. You could just click that, even that will take you to the same screen where you could go ahead. Or else even on the desktop, you might be seeing a browser icon with already Fiori details configured. Okay, so I use Fiori only on Chrome because is using the Internet Explorer, there is one icon which is not showing up. A drop down icon, it's not showing up actually. So we're using this on Chrome. So if I go to login, okay, Windows, here Fury will take a little time to open because it works on the browser first thing, and there are tons of apps in the system. So it's a training system, right? So it takes time to load. At the same time, these training systems are not on the minimum requirement of HANA database. These are hardly some 32 GB RAM something. So this is the Fury dashboard, and these are called as groups, and each group can hold a couple of apps actually. So if you want to see what all apps available, you could just click on this drop-down icon, and you could see various apps here. So if you scroll down, you'll see some app called as Customer Master and Supplier Master. If you see, just stop me. Both will be at the same place, Customer Master and Supplier Master, one after the other. These two, you see, customer master and supplier master, these two. How these apps are being able to, like in the Fiori, this dashboard, how they have come here because of the role, what I showed you right earlier. The role is So you were able to see this, right? Customer master and supplier master. So now what I'll do, I'll go back to SU01. So how those apps are able to come into the Fiori dashboard? That is because SAP BR underscore Bupa underscore master data underscore specialist. Yes, SAP underscore, yeah, this one. SAP underscore BR underscore Bupa underscore master data, right? This is that which is getting uh, apps, that is customer master and supplier master. I'll delete this. Okay, I'll delete this role. Okay, so you could see there is no role, right? So let us save this. So don't do this. You don't try this. I'm already showing you. So if you sorry, there is a connection lost, I guess. So what the yeah. So please don't delete any app, anyone. But if you know what you're trying to do, then that's okay. Because whatever the app you delete, try to again provision it. If not, it will be lost, right? So I have deleted that app. Now let me go back to the Fiori. So what I'll do is let me open the Fiori, right? So let us close and again re-log in. And one another thing, you see, when you are logging into the Fiori, system is not asking for any client ID. You see, it's not asking for any client because whenever we log into the system, it asks for the client number, right? But there's no client number here because the URL itself has been provisioned from the client 800. You see, so it's been here in the URL itself. So system knows, even though we don't mention the client here, system knows from which client we are trying to access this particular. It takes a little time to open. So these roles will be assigned by the security consultants. We need to provision these roles. We need to provide these roles to the security consultants with a authorization matrix. So security consultants will assign these roles in the SU01. Then log in again. It's taking too long time. So what I'll do is I'll come through. load. Okay, let it load. As I told you, it will take a little time to load. So that is role based actually. So how this particular roles are provisioned or how the apps are provisioned, this is the way we do it. But how do we know like which role has what apps and these things? That later I'll tell you. So how to find the roles and what all the roles are relevant for sales and everything I'll discuss later. Okay. But the Fiori is a role based. The next, responsive. What is this responsive? Responsive is all size, all device, all the versions and the channels. It should be the same. So if I'm accessing SAP on a computer, it should not show like the different way of how it looks like, or if we are accessing on a mobile, it should not be squeezed. That means screen size or on what device you're accessing should not affect what you are seeing, right? So you take Amazon, right? Amazon you open either on your computer or a laptop or a mobile, it looks similar because it will fit into that particular screen size, right? That we call it as responsiveness. So let's say this Fiori is responsive. Okay? Fiori is responsive. It fits into any device, any size, any version, doesn't matter. It looks the same. So how? Let me show you. This we can try it on any Chrome browser because Chrome browsers are responsive. You don't need to even only check it on the Fiori, but Fiori is by default responsive. But any Chrome browser you can check that. So click on function F12. Function F12 and this icon toggle device toolbar. When I click on the toggle device toolbar, you can see all the devices here. You see now it has been fit into. You have all the devices here. You could check how it looks on any other. Let's say I want to check it on iPhone 12 Pro. So this is how it looks on iPhone 12 Pro. Maybe Samsung Galaxy, it looks different. On an iPad, it looks a little different. You see, it fits into that particular size. It is not either squeezed or it's not stretched, right? So it will just change according to this is called as responsiveness, right? So now let us check that app what we have deleted the role that is customer master and supplier master. So just try to check if you see somewhere you start. You should not see that because we deleted the role. Master. Yeah, I hope this is where somewhere we have checked it. So you see, you obviously will not see that because we have removed that particular role, so we should not be able to see that here anyway, right? So how we get any or how we provision any app here, that is through the role. We add the role into the SU01 and here where you could see that particular app, right? So we just checked about role based and responsive. Then next simple. Simple. So in the ECC, we open multiple sessions, right? And if I want to check something, I need to go back. Let's say if I'm creating a customer, okay, and I want to check if this customer is blocked in any sales area. How do I know that? Anyone? I'm in HD01. I'm trying to create a customer, but I want to just check whether this customer is blocked in any particular sales area. How do we check that, anyone? Can I check in the same screen?
Wait, I can't hear you.
Hi, everyone. Sorry, there was some network issue. It got disconnected. Sorry, everyone. It got disconnected because of the network issue. Yeah. So, yeah, the next is what we are discussing is simple. So, what is simple? So, for this, SAP itself has given a use case. They have created even a video and their channel, YouTube channel, little long back. But yeah, so this is simple. You see here, if you're trying to create the transaction is clearing up incoming payments, and if you're doing that with the GUI, you can see the number of clicks and screen changes. But if you're doing that through Fiori, you can see the screen changes. That is, what is this 13113? That is one user, one use case, not more than 3 screens. You don't need more than 3 screens to clear to for one transaction. So one user, one use case, maximum is 3 screens. You don't need to come out of the screens. I'll show you that as well later. So in how many ways we can address any transaction within a single screen. Okay, we don't need multiple screens actually. So that is simple. Then coherent. Coherent is like whenever we log into the SAP system, there itself system asks you see language, let's say English, right? So if you take Japan, the SAP application itself is completely in Japanese, right? That means apps can also speak the same language. That means whatever is your SAP application, if your application is in English, you can have your apps in English. If your application is in Japanese, you can have your application in Japanese. So apps are also available in multiple languages, right? Then low barrier for adoption. Low barrier to adoption, that is it will not take much of effort for the users to learn and understand how to use the SAP system because it's just like using their mobile phone. They don't need to memorize T codes. They don't need to memorize their menu paths because everything is provisioned here on the dashboard with icons, with the apps. In the ECC, as I told you, right, Fiori was not new. In the ECC also we have Fiori. At that time, we used to call them as tiles, Fiori tiles. But in S4HANA, we are calling it as Fiori apps. So whatever the apps would be relevant for that user, it is already provided in their dashboard. So they don't need to memorize the T codes. They don't need to memorize the menu paths to access the transactions, just like using their mobile phone. So low barrier to adoption. It's pretty easy to make them understand how to use the SAP system because, as you know, training is the big pain in the SAP project where we need to make all the users to understand how to use the transactions. But here we don't find that much of difficulty. So these are the 5 principles on which this SAP Fiori was designed or developed. And it is still evolving. It's not the final product, still evolving, right? So now we have apps, right? So what kind of apps are available? There are 3 kinds of apps available. If it is in the ECC, as we discussed, Fiori was also there in the ECC, right? At that time, we don't have all the 3. At that time, it was only transactional and fact sheets. But today, in S4HANA, there is something new called as analytical apps. This is something new, analytical apps. Yesterday also we have discussed it. SAP very badly needs a new analytical tool or something new on the analytics. So SAP has come up with the 2 options. One is embedded analytics and strategic analytics. So embedded analytics is free to use on the standard license of enterprise management. It gives real-time reporting, but not that advanced. If you want more advanced, then you can go licensed version, which is strategic analytics, which comes with proprietary tools like Lumira, ABAP for Eclipse, and various other tools. You can more analyze it. But embedded analytics, it's a free to use. This is also almost advanced. It gives us real-time reports, but not as detailed as strategic analytics. So embedded analytics is something free to use on standard license. So these are the three kinds of apps what we have. One is transactional apps. The name itself self-explanatory. That is, it will allow us to create the transactions. Maybe you can create an order, credit memo, debit memo. You can create a customer, anything it could be. So this is a transactional app. Then fact sheet. What is fact sheet? Fact sheet or what what all the user needs attention. Okay, what all areas user need attention. The fact sheets we can also call it as fulfillment apps. Fact sheets can be also called as fulfillment apps. That is, a user don't need to run a report to check how many credit blocks are there in the order or how many credit blocks are there in the delivery or how many delivery issues are there. Right? A user don't need to run any transaction. Okay, system itself will show you on the app. On the app itself, system will show you how many issues needs the user attention. What all the customers having the issues. It will show you the customer name and number of issues this customer is having, which needs the user attention. So fact sheets are also called as fulfillment apps, which needs user attention to release the credit block or whatever it is. But this will, you don't need to run any report or something. The system itself will by default calculate everything and show. Okay, so that is fact sheets. You're able to see my screen, right, everyone? Can someone confirm, please?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Because I have some network issues in between. Yeah, just checking. Yeah, so these are the three kinds of apps. So let's see in the system how these apps look like and how they actually function. So as I already told you, fact sheets. First, let's discuss about transactional apps. What is transactional apps? Transactional apps are nothing but which the apps which will help us to create transactions. When you scroll down, you will see analytic apps for every module. Like if there is a sales analytics, purchasing analytics, inventory analytics. Every module has its own analytics. Likewise, sales module also has analytics. So all the sales apps will be at one place. Yeah, you could see all the sales related apps you see at one place. So maybe if I go for sales orders, you see create sales orders, right? So this is a transactional app. This is a transactional app which will help us to create a transaction. If I click on this, this will allow us to create a sales order. Okay, so there is service errors because see, this all runs on services, Java services, HTML services. So many services has to be activated to connect this to the database. Maybe there is some issue, or else let us try with VA01. Okay, it will open and we can access it. So create, change, display. This all comes under the transactional apps, which will allow us to create transactions. The next is fact sheets. Fact sheets, as I told you, right, they are fulfillment apps. You could see here, sales order fulfillment, right? And you could see this is also fulfillment app. So the numbers you see here, It will tell you how many issues need user attention, right? So this particular customer, this is customer actually, some government hospital has 20 issues. This XYZ Limited has 5 issues, right? So these are fulfillment apps. Let me access that here. So sales order monitoring. I'll just go to sales order monitoring. Yeah, you see sales order fulfillment analysis and result. It will load and tell you how many issues or what are the issues, how many customers, everything. It will just display here. It's still loading the data here. Okay, you see it has loaded and you see now. Now means it's real time. Okay, it says that delivery issues. Okay, so delivery issues. These are all issues. There are 40 delivery issues. Delivery issues in sales order 40 neutral. It will also show you priorities as well, high kind of thing. Then unconfirmed quantities in sales orders 4, incomplete data in sales order 3, right? If I leave the screen for a while, then it will also show you the time. Let's say if I leave the screen for 5 minutes, then it will show 5 minutes delayed, 10 minutes delayed. Like whatever the time you leave it, it shows here. So these are also real time. So now I can click on this. That is, user don't need to run any report or something to check what all needs his attention. He could just uh, click on that fulfillment analysis and resolve. Go to the screen and analyze and fix the issues. So the data is being loaded. You see this issues total by category, issues by sales organization, by sold to party, all the things. If I click on go, it will be loading all this data charts and everything. This dashboard can be completely controlled. This is a donut chart, right? You can change this donut chart to tabular form. Anything you can do. All the controls we have here. So click on this. The data further loads, and you see it's a donut chart now, and I can change it to line chart. It could be anything, any line, anything we could control here. How the look like should happen, pie chart. How the look like should happen, everything we could control here. And these are the customers who is having the issues, right? So if I click on this customer, you see a small pop-up opens here. And what does this small pop-up says? Clear incoming payments. Customer, like these all are nothing but apps. How many ways I can address this customer now here? If I want to post the incoming payments of this customer, I don't need to open a new window or new screen. I can click here and can directly access that. I want to see the customer master of this customer. I can see here. I want to see this customer balance. I could see here, right? So we don't need to open news that we have discussed, right? Simple 113, one user, one use case, not more than 3 screens. This is where we can do it. By default, system shows hardly 5 or 6 here. But if I click on more links, you click on more links, 55 ways. We are just seeing only 6 here, right? How many ways you can address the customer here itself without opening even a new window? 55 ways we can address this customer. You see, all these things. Maintain this customer hierarchy, customer governance, customer line items, you see post incoming payments, right? Replicate by customer. You have 55 ways of options now to address this customer or any customer. In fact, you can address in this 55 ways, right? Let's say if I want to display customer balance. I can click on this. You see, it opens up here. So we don't need to come out of the, that means we don't need to open a new window. Actually, we have a mini charts also will be seen here. In the mini charts also, we can control what has to be shown here, right? So that's how this works. Let me show you one more app called as 360-degree view app. And there is something called as 360-degree view app. And here itself you could see reject items, remove all delivery blocks, billing blocks. So in this screen, user can address all the issues of the customer. This is fact sheets. If I go here, there is something called as 360-degree view, customer 360-degree view app. This app will show customers everything in and out. What are the contracts this customer has, quotations, open orders, open deliveries, issues, credit memos, debit memos, everything. You could see here, this is the customer and what all the sales area this customer belong to. Here itself you could see, right? Open quotations, sales orders, contracts, customer returns, credit memo, debit memo, agreements, billing issues, right? Fulfillment issues. Everything we could see in one screen with a 360-degree view. If we want to see these all things in the ECC, at least we need to run close to some 15 to 17 transactions, right? Minimum 15 transactions we have to run to see this all in the ECC. But now you could see everything in a single screen, right? So these are fact sheets. Okay. Then next, analytical apps. Then let me open an order creation screen. Create sales order. This should open application. See, whatever we are discussing is a new server 2020. You see this? It says that 5 minutes ago. You leave this, it will show the delay time so that you know whether it's real time or not. But just click on this, it will refresh and it will say new. Okay. It is not loading the complete window. It is just refreshed only the app. You don't need to load the complete screen again. So whatever the server we are discussing is the latest server 2021 version. So that's the reason it is not fully functional as of now. If the old version, which is a stable version like 1909, you would have everything. We will have mix of both 1909 and 2021. As this is, actually I showed you, right? 2021 106 is for core. So that's the reason there might be some services are missing because this system is still, they're building this system. It's not yet completely done. I want to show you sales order screen. How do we access? Just a moment, let's see. Just taking a little time. Okay, by the time, if possible, we could check the analytical apps. Okay, let it load. It takes little time. So rather than waiting, we'll move on with other discussion. So now let us discuss how do we know what apps are available? Because definitely your customer also asked this. Do we have app for this transaction? Or can I filter the apps or choose apps by role? Okay. Can we choose apps by role? That's a very frequent question what you'll be facing in the projects. Okay, so let me show you. Yeah, you see, this is the order creation screen, right? Sales order creation screen. So, can we access Fiori with the T codes? Anyone? Is it possible to access Fiori with the T codes?
No.
That means I want to access Fiori with T code. I want to open a quotation, VA11 or VA21 or any transaction in fact. So Fiori works on browser, right? Fiori works on browser. But let us add the transaction bar. No one knows this actually. Very few, very few people know this. Actions and settings, and go to settings. Show OK code field. Okay, just activate this. You see transaction bar. I'm in a sales order screen, but I want to access quotation now. VA21. Maybe slash and slash. Slash and slash and VA21. You see quotation. Or else I'll just come back to easy access, right? So it's not only that whatever I have shown is not standard for Fiori. This is for HTML for GUI. Okay, this is HTML for GUI. This is not a Fiori functionality. This is not a Fiori functionality, but because see what happens is when you're in a project, you might be shocked to seeing this. It is Fiori, but it has a transaction bar. It is in cloud project. You might be shocked seeing this, how it is possible, or you may not be understanding like whether it's a on-premise or it's a cloud project, right? So, no, even in the Fiori, we can get a transaction bar. Okay. So maybe another VA31 scheduling agreement, right? Or in fact, configurations. Maybe I would go with the OVZ9 configuration. You see, OVZ9 configuration. So, this is Fiori, but even in the Fiori, we can add the transaction bar. Okay. So you don't try this in the project, but if you see this transaction bar in your project, then yeah, you should know that GUI for HTML has been active and this functionality has been provisioned. Okay. Yeah. So last thing is analytical apps. Sales analytics here, right? So this is embedded analytics. So SAP has provided some analytical apps, but if I want to have my own query, so I want to have a new query, or I don't want to have a I want to generate a new report. Okay. So how it's possible? There is something called as query browser with which we can have our own queries. Right? You see this query browser. So with this query browser, we can have our own queries. It's a simple, pretty simple actually. It's a see, it's just like allowed fields of condition table. We have columns and rows. We call it as x-axis and y-axis. Just drag and drop the fields wherever is necessary, whether x-axis or y-axis. System automatically generates the report. Right? This we will discuss later in the session when it comes to embedded analytics. But make sure you know that there is something called as query browser with which we can write our own analytics. Right? So this is analytical app. So these are the three kind of apps what we have. That is transactional app and fact sheets and analytical apps. Right? So how do we know what apps are available, or how do we communicate to the technical consultant to provision a new app, or whether this app is available for only cloud or on-premise? How do we know these all things? So that we know through this Fiori library. Just Google it. Fiori apps library. Just Google it, and most probably the first link it should be. Just click on that. Okay, so you see on the left side, it says all apps or all apps for S4HANA, various options. Let's just go with all apps for S4HANA. And here we have the options you could see. I told you, right? This is one very frequent question. Your clients would be asking you that, can I have apps by role? You see, by role. You can filter the apps by role. Okay, so I'll go by LOB, not by industry or something. I'll go by LOB. Under LOB, I'll go by sales. Okay, total how many apps are available? Let us see. All apps. Let us see all apps. That should be close to 13,000 something. 13,555, right? This is still evolving. This is not the final number. This is still evolving. When I started, it was hardly 3,000, 3,500. So they're adding, and see, and one more thing, let me give you an update. See, in the first versions of S4 HANA, Fiori was not free. In the first version of S4 HANA, Fiori is license. But there is a huge protest from the customer saying that because S4 HANA is a little expensive license. Did I show the license fees and other things yesterday? Did I show anyone? License fees, partner charges?
No.
No.
No, sir.
No? Okay. Okay. Well, let me show you. S4 HANA license fees is a little expensive comparing to the ECC. So customers anyway, they are already paying a huge license fees, right? And on top of that, what is Fiori? Anyone? What is Fiori? Fiori is a user
It is a
interface,
user interface.
right?
User interface.
User interface. Is Fiori giving any additional functionality?
User
Yes.
No, right?
experience.
Whatever you can do through, nothing much actually. Whatever you are doing through GUI, the same thing you are doing through Fiori. Only thing is it is providing you mobility and you can do it on browser. That's it. If not, Fiori is not offering any additional functionality. That means only for a user interface, why should, see, obviously if you buy some application, you need to get a user interface to connect it, right? Without a user interface, how do you connect that application? So in the first versions, SAP has put Fiori as a licensed. It's not free to use. But there was huge protest from the customers saying that, why would we need to pay for a user interface? We are not paying for application, we are paying for user interface. And the second thing is, already we are paying huge licenses for various reasons. Then again, even for user interface, there is a license. There is a huge protest from the customer. So what SAP has done is, SAP has made the Fiori free to use. But there are some apps which they made as paid apps, not all the apps. Out of this, there are some apps which you can buy. They are not free to use. So Fury is free to use, but not all the apps are not free to use. That's how they have come up with the policy. And what we're discussing, yeah, these are the license fees. You could see implementation for S/4HANA. What are the dollars you see here? These are partner charges. And what are the euros you will be seeing here? Prices in euros. These are license fees. These are the license fees, and the quantities 2090, 390. These all are the quantities, and these are the euros are in the license fees, and the dollars is the partner charges. Implementation. It's quite more than 500,000 project. All right. So yeah, going back to this screen, so we could check the apps whatever available here, because if customer asks, is app available? How do we know whether app is available or not, right? So we could just come to this library and check it by any of these things. And if I go by let me go by LOB, and let's choose sales. Oh, very few number. No, sales should have at least close to. Let's check by industry. Sales. Do we have sales somewhere here? Sales. So I don't know what they call the sales. So sales is, do we have something like what to see? Okay. Anyway, I don't know like what exactly the sales is called as by industry. So let's go by LOB itself, because LOB should have at least in the sales, they should have close to some 250 to 300 apps, not just 63. Okay. So these are the apps, various apps available. But I told you, right, 250 apps available, or 300, or maybe 1,000 apps available. How do again you know whether that particular app is there or not? Because in S/4HANA, for various transactions, the descriptions has been changed. So what you can do? So what is the T code to create a quotation?
V
VA20.
VA21.
VA21.
Right? So yeah. So if you're not sure whether the app is available or not, give the transaction here. For sure, quotation there is an app available. So I told you, right? It is showing only 63 apps. If not, there should be close to some 300, 400 plus apps actually. Let us check for VA11. So what you could do is you can just give the T code here. Then system will show you whether the app is available or not. If it is available, whether that app is available for just a moment. Are we in a correct link all apps for S/4HANA? Fiori apps for S/4HANA by LOB. Okay, it's still showing 63. Yeah, it should be more than 63 actually, not just the 63. Yeah, so you can just pass on the T code here so that system will tell you whether an app is available for that transaction or not. So because if you have hundreds of apps here and you don't find particular app, then you could just give the T code here and click on that, so the system will show you whether that particular app is available for the transaction or not. Okay. So yeah, that's how we find an app. So once you know the app, then how do you communicate, or how do you know whether this app is for Fiori, or it is for only cloud or on-premise, these all things? That is, just you can click on that particular app. When you click on the app, on the right side, the information opens, and here it will tell you uh, this app needs a HANA desktop, and this is the app ID through which we can communicate to the technical consultants to provision. And it will also tell you here this app, what is the versions. FPS. FPS is future pack stack. What is FPS, this future pack stack? That is, actually we discussed, right? If it is cloud, between 1 year, there will be 4 updates. That means every quarter there will be an update. And in on-premise, there will be annual update of 2020, then next version will be only 2021. But here, every quarter, every 3 months, there will be an update. That means between 2020 and 2021, there will be 3 updates. And fourth will be the final one, right? Okay, if you are an on-premise. See, if between this year, SAP will be working on something new, right? There is a change between 2020 to 2021 version. That means SAP is working on something new. When we can access this new, anyone? Whatever SAP was working, when can we access this? Only when the 2021 version is released, right? In the last 1 year, from 2020 to 2021, whatever SAP has worked and whatever the new functionalities or something which they bring. So when can we access it and how can we access? That is only when this new version is released. But if you want to access the changes even before the new release happen, that is, so what SAP do is, between every version, SAP release 2 FPS, you see, 1909, 1809 and 1909, 2 FPS, 1909 and 2020, 2 FPS, 2020 and 2021, 2 FPS. So that means between every 2 versions, there will be 2 FPS, future pack stack. That means you don't need to wait until the final version to be released. You can just go through this future pack stack and find out like what's new. And if you're okay with that, you could just install it or update your system. So that is future pack stack. Even our servers are also with the same. Even the application is also same. It's not only for Fiori apps. This FPS is applicable not only for just a moment. Disconnect. Yeah. So this is not only for the Fiori, even this is application, it is applicable for every version as well. Actually, it will be written here, activated with all the best practices with FPS 00 or 01, 02, whatever the latest FPS which has been updated with the system, you can see it even for the application as well. So this is what it will tell here, and it will also tell here whether this app is for exclusive, applicable only for the cloud or on-premise. Every information you'll see here. But what is more important for is role, because how we provision any app into the SAP dashboard, Fiori dashboard, only through the role, right? So role is very important for us. So when you click on this implementation information and click on configuration, so here it will tell you what is the OData services and other services which need to be activated for this. And you see this app is compatible with 106 version. That is nothing but 2021. Okay, this is compatible with 2021 version. And as you scroll down, it will also give you more technical details and role. You see this role here, SAP underscore BR underscore. So this is very important for us. This is what we need to provide to the technical consultants so that they can provision this app into our Fiori dashboard, right? So how do you know whether an app is available or not? What is the role for it and everything? That is, you could check in the Fiori apps library, right? So that's it, right? We have seen all the analytics and everything. Yeah. So this is all about the Fiori, right? This is about Fiori as a functional consultant, what we should know. And this is for today. So any questions, please go ahead.
Hi, Praveen.
Hi, Brahman. Go ahead.
Sorry, but due to some reason I could not join the class on time. Can you please send this recorded video
You will get it end of the day today.
Even the last class of the Esperana and SB as well.
Yes, yes. All the session and documents, everything you'll get it. You already paid the fees, right? You'll get it.
Yes, yes, I paid.
Yes, yes.
Please send the documents and whatever you said.
Sure,
Today.
sure.
Okay. Please send it today because today is Sunday. I will watch all those.
Sure, sure. Be assured. I could not send it immediately now because these videos will take time to render and available for you in MP4 format. So by end of the day, I can send you. Because even though I send you now, you cannot see it. It will open only in 360p. You cannot read the text. You cannot see the screen. Okay.
Okay, sir.
I'll
Okay,
send you in
okay.
the okay version.
Okay.
Yeah. Any questions? Please go ahead. Go ahead. No questions. Okay. So if you're interested to continue in this training, you can reach me on WhatsApp. This is the number, and you can send me an email, or you have further any questions you want to talk to before you enroll to this training. You could call me as well on the mobile. Right. So if anyone is interested, just reach out. We could take it further. And then next weekend we'll discuss on Saturday business partner, and Sunday we'll discuss credit management. So this is the schedule for the next weekend: business partner and credit management. Right. And the next weekend, I'll send you the session time. I'll send you the link 15 minutes before the session. That is at 6:15. I'll send you the link for the class at 6:30. Timing is not going to change. Only the last class, class 9, we'll have it a different time. That means 1 hour delay or 2 hour delay. If not, all the sessions will be on the same time, 6:30 to 8 o'clock. Yeah, go ahead.
Praveen, how do we need to take a this S4 HANA installation?
S4 HANA server I provide for 2 months. Okay, you will use it for 2 months. Yeah, any other questions? You'll get 2 months server access. I'll make sure I'll try to get both the servers 1909 as well. Because see, as a new version comes, the 1909 or the old versions are getting deprecated. So I'll try to find 1909 and I'll also share 1909 version as well. So you'll have both the latest 2021 and the 1909. You could also compare side by side and also check what changes are happening. Okay. Any other questions, anyone, for the last time?
Praveen, will all this recordings be shared over the G Drive
G
so
drive,
that we can?
yes. Yes,
So will
yes,
that
yes, sure.
should, yeah, for today's
I
session,
already have,
Fiori?
yeah, yeah, I already have a list of who has already enrolled. So by end of the day, as I
Okay.
told you, you'll be receiving.
It will be better if you share it after the class because it's a Sunday. We can go
I
through
told
the
you, right?
session again and make notes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just mentioned, even though I
Yeah.
share now, you cannot access it because it will be only in the 360p.
360.
Okay, 360p, you cannot even read the text or you don't see anything. Okay,
Okay.
so it will take little time to render and available in 4K. So I'll send it by evening.
Okay.
Like I'll upload it. You can check if it available. That's okay. If not available, you can check. Okay.
One more question. Suppose
Go
I
ahead.
joined a bit late, 10 minutes.
Hmm.
About the accesses for the systems like server access and all, will it be provided by you
Yes, yes.
or
2 months server access you will be getting.
okay? And how do we get into that system? the login credentials or not? Will that be shared
Yeah,
over the
so
mail or something?
over the mail, I'll send you login details. So it's a remote desktop. You'll be getting two credentials. One is first you log into the Windows remote desktop, and server credentials, that means GUI credentials, you'll see on the notepad here. Once you log into the Windows server, then to log on to the SAP, that credentials are in this folder. Okay. Anyway, I'll put both the credentials on the email.
Okay, thank you, Praveen.
Yeah. So we'll call it a day today, and we'll catch up next weekend. And the timing, as I mentioned, 6:30 to 8 IST. So we'll catch up next weekend. We'll discuss about business partner and credit management. And as I mentioned, you want to like enroll for this training, you could reach me on WhatsApp or email, or you could call me. Right. So next week it would be a closed group discussion, only the people who enrolled for this training. Right? Thanks everyone, and attending this training. Any further questions you have, you can reach me. Good day, everyone. Bye bye.
Thank you, Praveen.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye bye.